Why technology is making our lives harder, not easier. Let's dive in. Technology stopped serving people once power became concentrated at the top. Uh, Now it just serves systems, uh, not users. And America has become uh, a service and information economy. We no longer make anything, or at least not comparably to what other countries are doing. We essentially just, you know, we are a service industry and an information delivery industry. Like that's it, a service and information economy. And that's fine until the technology gets concentrated at the top, and then you have all kinds of problems. All kinds of problems. So I want to talk first about what happened to me today. I was in the middle of doing something for my channel, and because of a time crunch, I wasn't able to run back to my home to be able to um, make some food. So I went to order food, and I ordered Uber Eats. And Uber Eats usually, or at least not really usually, this happened probably 12, 15 times. But I've ordered it a lot over the last couple of years. So mathematically, not incredibly large percentage, but it happens. But the guy that was delivering my food wound up nowhere near where I'm trying to have delivered. No, and I mean nowhere near. I don't know how this happened. Not even close, not even off by a block, off by a half a block, across the street or whatever. This guy was off entirely. I mean, way miles away from where I'm at, which is crazy. But secondly, when I was trying to explain to him what's going on, I had to call him and he got on the phone. He didn't know a single word of English. Now, look, I'm one of those people that I don't really care if, everybody needs to make money. This guy couldn't even understand the basic fundamental English words like hello and goodbye and where are you, or wrong address, or like little basic terms to even understand the job. When I asked him over and over and over again what language he spoke, he said it took him a while to even understand what I was asking by saying that. I had to keep going, language, what language? And then finally he went Turkish. So I pulled up my phone and began to spend a lot of time trying to translate statements from English to Turkish and sending him messages. He was ignoring these messages. And then when I was saying stuff to him on the phone, like, hey, answer me, I message you. He's like, no speak English. I know English. I don't know, in his Turkish accent. And I'm sitting there like, this is infuriating. You're not looking at the messages. I'm sending you text in your language. You're just telling me you don't speak English. You're nowhere near where I'm at. I'm trying to get my food. So in the midst of this, he decides to take a photo of putting it on some rock wall nowhere near anywhere within miles of where I'm at, and then just boop, says food's delivered. Now I can no longer communicate with him, or if I can, I have to do the dial thing to get through to him, and then he picks up. It's this whole process. But even then, what would be the point? He doesn't understand a word coming out of my mouth. So, but now he gets his tip, he gets the money, all this stuff. So now I'm furious. Not necessarily because I feel entitled, or, I think that, everyone should be perfect when, serving me or whatever. What made me angry was that clearly I needed to get my money back. I didn't get my food. Yet it took me over 30 minutes of clicking buttons and randomly selecting multiple messages and multiple options in the Uber app to try to find where I explain what happened, where I could get customer service on the phone, how I can get it, and it was zero. There was nothing to get customer service on the phone. And I'm sitting there, and there used to be. I don't know what happened, but I'm sitting there, and then I'm explaining, I'm hitting the buttons like food wasn't delivered, blah, blah, blah. And it keeps saying, contact the driver, contact the driver. And I'm like, contact the driver for what? He doesn't speak English. So what would be the point of contacting the driver? And so now I'm really infuriated 25, 30 minutes in. I want my money back. This is like highway robbery. You just took like $50, $60 of my money and you gave me nothing. I need to get like refunded. And there's no customer service number. There's no like nothing. So finally, in a fit of rage, I contacted one of my friends, was explaining to her what happened. And then she said, hold on, let me find you. Let me find, there's got to be some kind of number. And after doing some digging on the internet, she found a number for me to call. And I called it, and I was able to, get somebody to answer and demand a refund. And then they told me they were going to refund me, but they have told me this in the past. And when they have said that, they have never refunded me. Not only have they not refunded me, but there have been times that they said, would you like to get your points refunded? And I was like, no, I don't want to get my points refunded because, what that means is that they can, or not points refunded, meaning that they can put points in your wallet or in the app that will allow you to buy food. Not points. I'm just using that phrase, but like, it's basically like a credit, I guess you could call it, that says that so that we're not giving you money, but you'll be allowed to order food with the whole amount, value, whatever. But it never does. It never happens. Never. I never receive it. I never get any credits. Nothing ever happens. I've called them countless times and been like, where are my credits? And they try to wiggle around it by saying, oh, we sent it to you. It's in like a wallet spot of the Uber wallet, and you go into it and then you'll see it in there. But every time I open it, it says zero. There's absolutely nothing in the Uber wallet. So they have never given me my money back despite saying that. And when they've refunded me, I'm not so sure I ever even got the money back. I don't recall ever getting money back from them, despite them saying, and they always say, oh, it'll take 5 business days. And they're hoping that I think people move on and forget. But this is something that should result, if there's other people that are getting stuff like this happening to them, this is something that should result in a class action lawsuit. And I'm dead serious when I say that. But the reason why I decided to tell you guys what happened to me today is because it kind of motivated my video today. Because tech companies are not making things convenient. They're making things worse dramatically in a lot of areas. And I want to get into why. I want to talk about why, because I know a lot of you are probably like, well, that's not true. If it wasn't for tech, I mean, look at the fact we could stream, we could do, watch videos on apps, and we could, we have access to information so much quicker. No, you don't. You have access to propaganda much quicker. You have access to controlled information, to algorithmic information. That's what you have access to. That's what you have access to more. That's what tech is providing you, not information. Information is found in libraries. Information is found in where you could read history books, where you could information is taught at universities, where they actually teach you what all the schools of fish that existed on this planet before us have accumulated in information over time. There is actual science and truth and facts and knowledge about real things and real information. We're not getting that. You're getting radical polarization from an algorithm feeding you a side of a story and preying on your emotions and your reactionary time and your fear of missing out over and over and over again, so that they can hook you and sell your data and make money off of your engagement and your attention. That's what you're getting. And they're propagandizing your brain. And they're telling you things that aren't necessarily true. Not that this is an all-seeing. I'm not telling you that the tech companies are doing this or that the owners of the social media companies are doing this. I'm telling you that there is an incentivized based system where all the people who are using social media found out that they can get financial rewards from engagement and views. And they know that you're more likely, to fall for paranoia and emotional reactionary stuff and get you all fired up. And that's what this is all about. That's what I'm talking about. And it's destroying a lot of things. It's destroying the fabric of of America. It's destroying relationships, friendships, separating people. We're having catastrophic political discourse over stuff like this, polarization on the political level like we've never seen. And yeah, tech companies and these services that they're providing, they inherently are not. It's not like they decided, hey, let's invent this thing and then willfully destroy stuff, or it's our intention to do so. They're just incentivized to have a lot of users. And the users are incentivized to make money by delivering propaganda and misinformation that preys upon you. And then the social media apps are owned by people who are incentivized to profit from all these users doing that by getting your data. And this is an incentive-based system that is destroying everything. But let's go down the list. We already discussed that, but what about customer service? Okay? I mean, just a basic fundamental idea that if you buy something, a product or a service, that if there's a problem, that there is a person you could call. There is a way to get refunded. There is a way to speak to a person, a representative of some kind who could help you. Okay? When all of the concentration of wealth and power go to the top, you don't have an alternative. It used to be back in the day, you could punish a company by saying, you know what? I don't want to use your service no more because you have shitty customer service. So I'm going to go somewhere else. You can't do that anymore. You can't do that anymore. And why? You can't do that anymore because they have monopolized all of the things that you need and the services you need. You have no choice, and they know you have no choice, or at least little to none. And they prey upon that. So they don't care about giving you customer service. This is why you talk to chatbots now. You can't even talk to a human. You talk to somebody that barely speaks English that's outsourced, which again, I don't care about the English, but communication is kind of key when it comes to customer service. And, Amazon, right? Google, Meta, AT&T, same experiences everywhere. It doesn't matter which corporation. You're getting the same situations. Actually, I could argue Amazon's probably better than all of those. But Google, I use Google Workspace for my company. They used to have a way to contact customer support if the email systems were not working. Now, that's gone. That's gone. And it starts to make you say, well, wait a minute. Is it because these guys know that they can just continue to grow their shares larger and larger and larger and larger and so on and so forth by just having everything automated and offering no one any real customer service? And so they don't really care because you have no choice and you need their services anyways? And what about the endless password resets and verifications? How many, I feel like I haven't done the math, but I feel like if we did the math, we would discover that millennials and Gen Z will probably spend 20 to 25% of their life verifying that they are who they say they are. Everywhere you turn, you have to verify to verify to verify. You go on your computer, if you have a PC or a Mac, you go to log into something and it wants a PIN or it wants a code, a verification code, even though you're on your own computer. Now you get past that. Now you have to put in your login and your password. Now you log in and password and it wants to verify, so it ends up saying it needs to send you a text message or it needs to send you an email. Sometimes it wants to send you an email and you get through the email and then it still wants to send you a text message because now they want to double verify. And in the time it's taking you to do this, this is making your life easier? And everyone's saying, well, Tom, I mean, there are people that are scam artists and they're doing this to protect people. I don't care. I don't care that there are people that are scam artists. I don't care. I know that there's a small percentage of people in Nigeria that are looking for a loophole or figuring out a way to get in. I don't care. It's kind of like the old George Carlin adage where he talked about 9/11 and the planes that were flying out of the airport. And they made all that security after 9/11. And he said, the odds of a terrorist getting on a plane and doing something are so infinitely small. Why am I being anally searched at the airport before I get a seat on the plane? And he said, I think that they should have a fly at your own risk airlines. So that for people who are just like, you know what, I'll take the risk. I'd rather just walk through and have ease and not be worried about anything happening to me. Because people are willing to sacrifice their liberty for the false illusion of safety. And that's what's happening over and over and over again. And it's infuriating because there should be companies that are like, you know what, we don't do verification. You get hacked, you get hacked. I would use those services. Thank you. Banks, same thing with the frauds. How many times has Bank of America previous banks have not done it anywhere near as much as Bank of America. But when I banked with Bank of America, oh my God. If I traveled anywhere, fraud alert, fraud alert, fraud alert. I would take a friend out to eat, fraud alert, fraud alert. One time, I took a girl out shopping to buy her a pair of Gucci flip-flops to be impressive, you know what I'm saying? You know, back in my stupidity days. And at the end of the day, them shoes got jacked. Because in the time that they were sitting in a bag on the floor, she put them in the bag on the floor because the card came up as a fraud purchase. And it took me 30 minutes on the phone with the bank to clear that it wasn't a fraud purchase. And in that time frame, some other woman had grabbed the bag and walked out of the store with her shoes, and they were the only pair left in the store. So the inconvenience of these things go far beyond just that momentary inconvenience. Like today with my food, I am now recording this episode hours behind schedule because when that food didn't arrive, I was not going to order food on another app. I was not even going to, I mean, come on, can you blame me? So I was like, no, I'm going to go home and eat. And I had to drive home and I had to cook food and all that, which was fine and everything. But it threw my entire schedule off. And it made it so that I'm now recording way later than I would because, you know, I wanted to see if the Bears would beat the Packers. I mean, there was that too. Look, it was a close game. It was a close game. I wasn't going to like, you know what I mean? Look, if it was a blowout, I wouldn't have cared. I'd have came in probably an hour sooner. So there was the food factor, but then it turned into a close game. And I wanted to see what would happen before I recorded my video. But anyways, I digress. Back to the point. Another reason why they make your life harder is accounts getting frozen without your permission. I deleted my Facebook completely. Boom. I'm never using them again. I think it's time for the world to move on from Facebook. But there is a massive problem where they are not allowing companies, they are stripping companies and entrepreneurs and small independent businesses of their right to use Facebook advertisement. Think about that for a minute. I really want you to think about this for a minute because this is important. They're picking winners and losers, man. We know how important it is in today's age for your company as an entrepreneur. We know how important it is for your company to be able to advertise on social media platforms. It's incredibly important. Facebook, Meta, they are in charge of this Facebook and Instagram. If you can't advertise on Facebook and Instagram, that's a big time, huge blow to your business. They're not giving people explanations. There's no customer service. There's no answer, no response. There's literally nothing for anyone to be able to figure out what is going on. They just go to use it and it says, sorry, your account's been banned from using Facebook ads. And they've been doing this to thousands of small businesses and entrepreneurs all over the country. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Who gets to advertise? They pick. So therefore, all that content that you keep seeing on your social media feed on Facebook and Instagram that's paid content, they're deciding who you're allowed or like who should be able to get your attention and who shouldn't. Think about that for a minute. They're making decisions at the top over who's allowed to spend money to put an idea in front of you. Not everybody. It's not fair. It's not equal. It's not, hey, it's not even if you have more money, you know, like I could see like, you know, Oh, well, if you don't have a lot of money, you can spend this much and it'll only get this much. But if you have a lot of money, you can spend this much and you'll get this much. I can see that logic. But no, they're just flat out going, you can't use the ad service at all because we said so. We're not even going to tell you why. We're going to decide who's allowed to and who isn't. You think that's good? Do you think that that's good and making our life easier? Do you think it's helpful that tens of thousands of small businesses and entrepreneurs and businesses that work from home and et cetera, do you think it's good for the economy or anything? Or even good for the consumer of Facebook who spends their time all day on Facebook to never be able to see certain other people's content or other options? That's not making our lives easier. That is more controlled propaganda. And this doesn't just stop at Facebook. There are people who have complained multitudes of times their emails just stop working. There's no customer service. You can't contact Google. You can't figure out why. You go to Google it, and it leads you to a messenger thing where you leave a complaint, and it just sits there as a dead complaint on the internet for years. Where I could go on the internet and I could look at somebody who made a complaint from like 5 years ago that still has no response and no reply from anybody, just sitting there. You guys think this is good? That they get to just do this? There's no customer service. They're not held legally responsible to offer any customer service. Apps are constantly changing for no reason, changing how they operate, changing what their policies are, forcing you to change your password for no reason. And then you get forced to change it so many fucking times. And then it keeps saying you're not allowed to use any password from your last 5 passwords. You're losing your autonomy. Don't you see? Your autonomy. You are losing your autonomy. They're overriding your ability to make decisions for yourself and say, I want to use a previous password. Why don't I get to? No, they're telling you can't. Facebook, so dangerous, had policies where they were forcing people to put their IDs in to get a blue check mark for verification. And then they ended up, there are a lot of people that have stage names and performance names that don't want their legal name out there. They didn't protect those people. As soon as they gave them their ID, they made their usernames their legal names. There were strippers and OnlyFans girls that got stalked. Some of them wound up like hurt. Facebook didn't care. There was no accountability, no responsibility there. They didn't care. Or how about the fact that if an attorney wanted to go after somebody for being inappropriate with underage kids on Facebook, that it takes their legal team 3, 4, 5, 6 months to get back to them. There's no customer service. There's no line. I had an attorney literally tell me this. He said, man, I couldn't even get a hold of them in a situation like that. Is that making our lives easier? Is that helping our society, our culture? I mean, this is like not good stuff. Very bad stuff. You know? I mean, some of these people, I remember one time I blocked somebody on Facebook. And I realized right after I blocked them, I said, it might be a good idea if, no, I had sent a message and then I blocked them. And then I said, it might be a good idea if I don't engage. So I unblocked them to delete the message I sent and then went to block them again. Nope. Time limit. Facebook has decided that you have to wait 48 hours. If you blocked them and unblocked them, you have to wait 48 hours. Why? I looked it up. I looked up the policy. They don't want people playing games, blocking and unblocking people. Who cares? Who cares? They're overriding your right to decide who gets access to you. You have the right to decide at any second who has the right to. If you decide to give someone access, take it away and then give it to them again a second later and then take it away a second later. That's your prerogative. That's your prerogative. But no, Facebook says no. You don't get to choose who you get to block. We're going to tell you that you're doing it too many times. You're playing games we don't like. Are you kidding me? Where is your freedom? Where is your freedom? Where is your personal Autonomy. Where is your ability to decide for yourself who you want to grant access to or not? That's insane to me and dangerous. I mean, these companies, they update things. The iPhone will update and everything's broken, stuff all crashes. No one to call. Nobody to reach out to. They don't care. Oh, well, whatever. You'll buy another iPhone. Whatever. They don't care. AT&T, Comcast, Verizon, Spectrum, Apple, they hold you hostage to their products. They have you signing up, and then what they do is they make it so that you essentially they make it so incredibly difficult for you to change over. Imagine if my next phone, I said, you know what, I'm done with Apple. I'm going to buy me an Android. Do you have any idea how difficult it would be for me to get all my contacts into my phone? How difficult it would be for me to relearn an entire new phone interface? How difficult it would be for me to be able to save my files or my photos or have all my stuff on my phone that I want on my phone? It would be such a nightmare that people say, fuck it, I'll just get another iPhone. Because they're holding you hostage to their services and products to make sure you never leave. And while they're doing that, they're making so much money that they're buying up all their competitors or finding a way to destroy all their competitors so that even if you do get up the gumption to leave, you don't have anywhere to go. You think that's making life easier for you? Is that what you think? You honestly think that that's making life better for us? You know, why does everything need to require an app? How about that? Why does there need to be an app for parking and restaurants and banking and deliveries? And if your phone dies, you're screwed. And that's why people continuously keep on staying glued to the phone. Because you become a slave to apps, a slave to applications. And then you end up realizing you're gaining weight, you're out of shape, you're unhealthy, you don't go anywhere because everything's become so convenient for you because you have a little square on your screen you could open to do anything that you need done. And then, of course, you know, they start tracking your data usage, using your data, selling your information. I mean, it's like, it's unbelievable. There's these forced ecosystems, you know, that lock you in. And then they place ads everywhere and annoy the piss out of you with advertisement after advertisement in your face, you know? And even after you paid, in some cases, a lot of times, they're still like, we don't care. Look at Amazon Prime. You could pay for the service and they're still interrupting your show with commercials in front of your face. Because what are you going to do about it? Nothing. You're not going to do anything about it. It's becoming the new normal. YouTube Premium. I mean, it's like, which, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of YouTube Premium. One of the reasons why I love YouTube Premium is because when you pay for the service, you do not see ads. You might see them if the person who's making the content chooses to do it willfully, but that is the right way to go about it, not the Amazon Prime way, in my book. But none of this is making our lives easier. Search results are terrible now. You know, you go and you try to find information in search systems, and it's like, it's filled with ads and sponsored material to answer your stuff. It's like search engine optimization spam and like all this affiliate garbage instead of real answers to your question. So you don't even get an answer anymore. You're just basically in a, like, you're in like a web of people that have paid to put all this garbage in front of you. And meanwhile, they continue to data track what you're searching without your consent. You got to accept all these cookies. Nothing works. Privacy settings are intentionally confusing. They want to make it so that you can't opt out of them or make them difficult. You know, you download softwares and there's all these hidden shit inside of it. And you got to take your time and click through it all to see if there's anything bad in it so that it doesn't damage your computer, fucking ruin your life and cause you more problems. Meanwhile, when all this hectic shit is happening to you and they're ruining your fucking life, the prices are going up, 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 up. Charging you more, charging you more, charging you more, charging you for this. Oh, this little extra feature, charging more. Oh, this little extra feature, $3.99 a month, $5.99 a month, $7.99 a month. Before you know it, you're paying $40 a month for a service. Ain't that right, Netflix? I remember back when Netflix was $9.99 a month. That's what it was. Then they're like, oh, you want to be able to do this? Oh, you want to be able to do that? Oh, you want to be able to watch shows in 4K, or you want to add this feature? $24.99, $28.99. Like, and the prices start, it's fucking unbelievable. And it's like, and meanwhile, again, if it doesn't work, who do you call? They don't care. They don't care that you have no one to call. You're at their behest. They're not only taking your time and your money all the time and controlling your every move and selling your data. Don't you see you're the product? Don't you see that? You're the product. There's no ownership. You just get access. So if you sit and you go on Facebook or Instagram and you build a page and you make that page popular, Instagram owns that page, not you. Just like back in the day when I created No Hope for the Human Race and I had 2.9 million followers on Facebook, they just went boop and they deleted it. All the hard work. I spent hours, literally 12 to 14 hours a day in front of a computer for like 5 years to build the following that I had on that page, and they just deleted it. No rhyme, no reason, no explanation. Just, we're deleting the page. I assumed it was because we got reported or we offended somebody. And now he comes back around and says, hey, I'm okay with offending everyone. Everyone can say whatever they want now because I'm a bro now and I do UFC fighting and I'm friends with Dana White now and I'm a macho guy, alpha male. So now I'm cool with anybody say whatever they want. Then give me my fucking page back. Huh? How about that? Give me my page back. Fuck. Huh? How about that? That's where I'm at. So, this is costly to our society, to our culture, to people that are trying to make a living. It's all being consolidated. I could tell you as an entrepreneur, I run a business, and I could tell you right now, I'm paying close to $4,000 to $5,000 a month in services that I use to keep my company functioning every month. And out of all of those services that I pay for, they're all owned by a collection of like 5 companies. 5 companies. Do you realize that at any moment, the top executives of those 5 companies can make the decision that they just want to destroy me and say, you can't have an account with our services anymore, and I'm cooked? That's a reality. You think that's okay for society? You think that's good? Is that making my life easier? Is that making anyone's life easier who's using these services? They're optimizing everything for addiction. They want you glued, hooked, unable to get off, constantly giving their money, tapping your bank account. Do you know that when you call up the bank and you cancel a bank card and say, I lost my card, I'm worried, I want a new card with all new information. You used to be able to do that and it would stop anything that was ever hitting your card from hitting it. Not now. You ever notice that? Now you change your card, everything just gets to continue to keep billing you. Why is that? Why did the banks allow that? Now, don't get me wrong. They don't let small companies or little unknown companies continue to bill you. They'll just have a bad credit card on file. But Google will continue to bill you. Oh, yeah. Amazon will continue to bill you. Oh, yeah. All those big companies. Oh, yeah. Why? What happened that allowed the bank to go, hey, even if the person who banks with us loses their card, we're going to make sure you keep getting your money, guys. Handshake deals. All the billionaires just, must be nice, man. I wish I could be one of them. And maybe someday I will be. I don't know. Power changes. Wealth changes. But I can tell you right now that this has got to stop. Because when the power is concentrated in just a few companies, like Amazon, Google, Apple, Meta. Information, communication. When there's a situation where there's no alternative, nobody is held accountable for anything. No one cares if you're frustrated. You're just another data point. You're an angry data point. Stressed out, losing your mind. You ever see the movie Falling Down? If you haven't, I recommend you watch it. Very good with Michael Douglas. But Falling Down, that's what we're going to have more of. That's what's going to happen when people keep seeing charges. And by the way, these companies, they can bill you egregious amounts of money. I mean, look at what just happened recently with Google Ads, class action lawsuit there. And, I probably won't be able to run an ad behind this video for saying that, but I don't really care. It's a point. The point that I'm making is that when these companies charge you, unless they do it to the wrong person who has a huge amount of money that's able to hire a huge law firm to be able to press for a class action, you're basically just screwed. There's no oversight. There's no one you could call anymore. The current administration has gutted every program that regulated any of these companies. They could just bill you whatever the fuck they want. What are you going to do about it? You can't do anything about it. I mean, you could call the bank and you could say, hey, I want to put a stop payment from ever. Sure, you ain't going to get the money back they took. I mean, it's not good. We have gone past the point of no return with this shit. And technology is supposed to have made our lives easier, not boxed us in and suffocated us with all of this nonsense while it strips us of our money and our cash flow and our time, and it destroys our lives and gives us no customer service, and it fucks up our daily schedules. It ruins all these things, and there's no one to call, no customer service, no regulatory departments. There's no nothing. No accountability. Anyway, something to think about. My name's Tom Kane. This is another episode of the Executives Playbook. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button, the little bell, so you can be notified when I release videos. I'm sorry that this one was put out a little late tonight, but as you guys can understand, that's how my day went. But anyways, I really do appreciate everybody that views. Please engage. Please like. Please comment. I love the engagement. Some of you have been, I noticed recently, and I really can't begin to tell you, I really appreciate the engagement. Thank you. And, you guys have a wonderful rest of your night.